All right, we're right back, just catching up there. Welcome and thank you for watching Good Morning Nigeria. We'll take the background report to usher us into the conversation proper, and we'll see you right after that.
In Nigeria, a new dawn has emerged for women in agriculture, thanks to the tireless efforts of the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu. Her initiative, Renewed Hope for Women in Agriculture, is empowering women farmers across the country, youth farmers, and individuals with disabilities to cultivate food and generate income. This grassroots program strives to improve the lives of Nigerians nationwide, providing them with the tools and resources they need to succeed. Agriculture is the backbone of Nigeria's economy, and women play a vital role in the sector. However, they have long faced significant challenges, including limited access to land, credit, and markets. Nevertheless, with the First Lady's initiative, these women are now receiving training, funding, and support to help overcome these obstacles. Through this initiative, women are learning new farming techniques, gaining access to modern technology, and connecting with buyers and suppliers. They are also receiving support for their businesses, enabling them to grow and thrive. Furthermore, the initiative places an emphasis on fostering a culture of gender equality and inclusivity in agribusiness, recognizing the invaluable contributions and leadership potential of women in driving sustainable agricultural development. By promoting women's access to land, inputs, and markets, the initiative aims to unlock the latent potential of women in agriculture, paving the way for enhanced productivity and economic growth. Additionally, the program seeks to amplify the voices of rural women farmers and entrepreneurs, ensuring their perspectives are integrated into policymaking and agricultural development strategies. The Renewed Hope for Women in Agriculture stands as a beacon of optimism and progress, catalyzing a force of change that advances the status of women in agriculture. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria will discuss the life cycle of the initiative and its widely valued social outcomes.
All right, Ibrahim and Amidu, thank you for giving us the background report. And just to let you know, if you've just joined us, you're right on time as we start our conversation on renewed hope initiatives of the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, and how it will impact on beneficiaries. So let me quickly start my introduction. So that we have right here in the studio Wahab Alawiye King, and he's the Senior Special Assistant to the President, Office of the First Lady, Policy, Public Affairs and Strategy. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We also have right here with us, and we're glad to really have her with us, Busala Kukui, and she's also the Senior Special Assistant to the President, Office of the First Lady Media. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And we have also been joined here in the studio by Wemi Eribo, Director General, Women Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. We thank you very much for finding time to join us here on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
Claire?
Yes, so let's start with the SSA Media. And I would like for you to explain to us really this Renewed Hope initiative of the First Lady. What is the broad objective?
Thank you very much, Claire. Basically, the broad objective is to have better life for families. It's not just about one gender or the other. It's about the family as a whole. The man, the woman, and the children, the youth. They're not left out. Now, this has a scope that goes through 5 areas. We're talking about agriculture, education, health, social investment, and economic empowerment. Now, for the First Lady of the Federal Republic, she believes that if these 5 areas are adequately covered and there are interventions in those areas, then we can talk about a better life for the family. And that's why she's being very vigorous about it. Now, if you look at the structure of the Renewed Hope Initiative, it is a grassroots oriented structure. It goes from the top right to the bases. Now, we have the national chairman of that initiative, who is the First Lady as expected, the vice chairman, the wife of the vice president as expected. Now, all the state governors, the governors' wives for each state will be coordinating at the state level. They would also have local government coordinators who will be reaching out to the grassroots, the wards. In between that, we have...
So it's multi-layered?
It's multi-layered, yes, it's multi-layered, because as far as she's concerned, it must permeate the entire society. Now, one strata must not be better than the other. Every strata is very important in the Renewed Hope Initiative. Be you at the national level, at the zonal level. Now, the zonal level takes care of the 6 geopolitical zones of the nation, and thereafter the states, then the local governments. So every layer is very important.
Can we just put you on hold? I think
Yes.
we need to adjust your microphone so that you can be audible, and you know we are here for business. So Victor, you want to bring in?
Well,
Yes.
let me get to Wahab Alawiye King. When we hear Renewed Hope Initiative, without knowing anything, without seeing anything, what should come to mind? You know, what instrumentality is being deployed here to achieve the set objectives?
Thank you very much. Well, the first thing we need to talk about is that the scopes of the Renew Hope initiatives are in line with its sustainable development goals. If you look at all the pillars of the Renew Hope initiative, you will see that they are in line and in tandem with the sustainable development goal, which is a collective effort by world leaders to make our world a better place to be. And for us at the Renew Hope initiative, like he has mentioned, what is paramount and important to us is to make sure that families, you know, live a better life. And that is what we are using. That is the instrument we are using. Through all the scopes she has mentioned, education, health, economic empowerment, social investment, and agriculture, to change lives in our society.
I would, okay, let me bring Weime to also weigh in on this initiative. Weime, I know you are of the women, you know, Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, and basically you're looking out for women interests. What are you reading from these initiatives?
I think the first thing will be to say that it is a laudable initiative. Across the world, the success of entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs, you know, cannot go without government support and government intervention. So for me, seeing this and, you know, seeing all of the things that are happening, the possibilities that can come out of this, it's something that is really exciting, because one of the things that we do know, first of all, is women will always have there's always the lack of access to funding for women and entrepreneurs, and of course female farmers. We've seen a lot of interventions that have come into Nigeria, you know, around farming, but for me this is laudable because you can actually see it going down to the women who actually need it, right? So I think it's a laudable one. It's one that we hope that, you know, will get the effects that we hope that, you know, will come out of it. I mean, women farmers, especially the ones in the most rural areas, are always the ones who benefit least from interventions like this. So just hearing her speak about the multi-layered approach to which, you know, this is going is something that is exciting for me, especially because the women in the chamber, we do have quite a number of women who actually play around the agricultural space, and we know the issues that come out of, you know, those spaces. So one, the lack of access to funding, lack of access to capacity building, lack of access to knowledge, you know, and best practices when it comes to agriculture. And these are some of the conversations that I've heard that are coming out of this initiative. So I think for me it's really exciting to hear, and I'm just really hopeful that we will get the benefit of it, just as, you know, the way that the First Lady expects it to go.
But do we then say, would it be right, let me ask Kabisola now, would it be right to say that the strategy, is to use women as arrowheads in this, in the initiative to drive home the point, to get, objectives achieved, so to say?
You won't be far from the truth if you say that. But let me go this way. If you want to achieve anything, I think you should entrust it in the hands of a woman. I'm sure Wayne would agree with me. Why are you looking that way?
Well, I'm looking at my fellow man.
Just to buttress your point, they say there is a queen in every woman. She heals and she empowers.
That's it. So really, if you empower a woman, you have empowered a nation. So for me, using women as the arrowhead will not be out of place. The First Lady is somebody that is very visionary, and she pays attention to fine details. So she knows that she's been in the Senate for how many years? 12 years. She's been a grassroots politician. So she knows, and she's been a First Lady of a state. So she has seen the impact women can have in driving policies, in driving initiatives, in driving programs. And this is what she's trying to achieve. Now let's look at it this way. The few that we have done, we've done 5 of the Women in a Greek support program for 5 zones of the nation. One is loading now, very shortly. You see the passion with which these women come out. They want to get involved. They are so enthusiastic. They want to see it happen like in the immediate. That's the spirit of a woman. Because she knows that, okay, if I do this, if I get this done, my children are going to benefit. My husband will benefit. My society will benefit. I'll get the better for it.
We will take a look at, of course, within the available time frame, we'll take a look at, the content and context of each of the, programs. But again, talking about policy and strategy, and I'm glad you are the, SSA here. I'm wondering, most times you discover that our policies, rarely align with, the needs of those they intend to address. Now, what would you say is the nexus between those initiatives and the actual needs, of the family, led by the woman?
Thank you very much. As we all know that one important pillar of this administration is agriculture. And like you rightly mentioned that Her Excellency has been a grassroots politician, a legislator, a First Lady. She knows, some of the things the women need to drive this goal. You understand? She has done it before, she is doing it now, and she knows the tools she can use to achieve this goal. That is why we are going this way. Before now, development economics, we use per capita income to measure how a nation is faring. They put, gross domestic product, they divide it by population, and whatever they get will determine how that nation is faring. That is not what they use anymore. What they use now is Human Development Index. And with that, you combine so many factors to determine how a nation is faring. And one of such factors is access to food and food security. And that is exactly what the First Lady is trying to achieve with this program here.
Okay, now that you've talked about food, and this is the part, the initiative that I enjoy watching. That's the Every Home a Garden. I love it when I watch the advert and the lovely voice, of course, behind it. I'm encouraged and I'm impressed. That's why I like Busola to talk to us about Every Home a Garden. What are you driving at? What is the goal?
The goal is to encourage food sustainability. The goal is to encourage everyone to try and feed themselves. I don't have to wait on anyone. Now, Do you have a garden? You have a space. The basics, my ewedu, my vegetable, my okra, I can actually cultivate it and share with Wayne, for instance, who is my neighbor, because I might not be able to finish the harvest on my own. So let's that spirit of love, let it start from my gardening as well. But actually what the First Lady thought about when she was conceptualizing every home a garden was food sustainability. Why do I have to go to the market all the time to buy my pepper if I have pepper grown in my backyard? Why do I have to go every time to get fresh vegetables? I can actually just go when I come back from work. Oh, I feel like having a wedu this afternoon. So I go, just pluck a few leaves, I put it in the blender, and I have my meal. Let us think out of the box. Must I own a big farmland to be able to eat? It can start from my home. And that's what she's saying. Do you know you don't have to dream big? I'm sure the chamber will tell us that the best business initiatives start small. So if I start in my garden, one day it could actually grow. And even if it doesn't grow, I've ensured that I had food on my table, and my neighbor also has food on her own table.
That's assuming that the whole compound is not paved.
Even if it is paved, do you know that the
Assuming that you have space anyway.
Okay, I'm sure.
Or that it's a new building.
Okay,
You are just building.
let me share this with you. Maybe I should let it out of the bar. Where the First Lady is staying right now is paved and all cemented, but she's doing a smart garden. That's why we have technology. There's the innovation space is so wide now. The technological space is so wide now that we can do anything and do it significantly. Now you have all those wooden boxes, and you can plant in those wooden boxes and just put it on those paved walkways. You can have potted plants. You can have, you can do all those smart gardening even in those paved compound. Like I live, my entire compound is paved, but there's this small space that the tree was planted. So I told the guy who keeps the house, I said, Ernest, we must plant pepper here, we must plant a window here. And he was like,
that same spot.
Yes, just that little space, but because it's a bit wide.
I in the competition because I know.
Claire, don't worry. But at the end of the competition closes in October, so we'll see who will win. Maybe me or you. But that's smart gardening can be done no matter what. Those are some of the things she's trying to encourage. We shouldn't be put down by situations or circumstances. We should innovate ways of rising above them. So if I have a paved compound, I can take to smart gardening.
Wait, I would like you to come in now, but let me just drop Busola out a bit, because I'm just wondering. There's a monetary prize attached to this.
That's why I said we'll know who is that.
So who are your targets? Who are eligible? Who are those eligible for this? Because if you hope to bridge the gap in food, production, and then you must have your target population who have the capacity to do that, and then those who just want to do it for fun or just for the
Well, all females are the targets. Every woman. Age is not a barrier.
Working class, urban, rural, farmer, trader.
Every woman, even a medical practitioner, is also a target. Can you plant a garden in your home? Can you provide food through that garden for your home? And your neighbor will benefit from that garden. It doesn't matter who you are, as long as you're a female, a first-time farmer. Your age, it doesn't matter. I've never farmed like that, but I'm sure the first lady too has never gone to a farm, but she's now into smart gardening. You know, I'm sure she's not in the competition though.
Reminds me of the local song in those days. Victor, I'm sure you know it very well.
Lies.
Wait a minute. Please weigh in on this. Please.
I think it's really interesting. Growing up, we also had space behind the house. So I grew up, with plantain trees, with pepper, tomatoes at the back of the house and everything, which was in Lagos. But coming into Abuja, we didn't necessarily have that space, right? And the more that I engage with women, especially women in agriculture and all of that, you find that there are certain barriers that might step up to this initiative. One of those barriers is we do know that women don't necessarily have access to land, right? If we talk about women in the most rural areas, not a lot of them, I mean, they're living in very small houses. There's almost nothing to be able to put aside for farming. While it is interesting and it's one that will actually encourage, so as you were speaking in my head, I'm like, what part of my house can I start putting wood in first to plant something, right? But I think that maybe in thinking through this, this initiative can take a step further to say, in local communities, can we get communal land for women to use to be able to join this initiative? Because you find that not a lot of women have access to land. First of all, even with all of the things that are going on, some people who even had access to land don't necessarily have it anymore. A lot of people have been displaced. A lot of people have, moved houses, moved things. There's more urbanization, even in the rural areas, quite a bit now. So just like he said, there are lots of cemented areas. So can we think of ways around, bringing communal, since that is the essence, right? Feed myself and feed my family, feed my neighbor. Can we think around doing this in such a way that it becomes a more communal thing? So to encourage more women to, in a community, can we say, okay, we are giving you 1 hectare, 2 hectares, 3 hectares. How many of you in this community? Can we put these women in a cluster, and bring them together to think through farming together and farming for their communities, as opposed to farming for just, their own families and their neighbors. So I think for me, it is laudable. It's something that even I am thinking in myself, not just myself, I have to pull my daughter in somehow. But then beyond us who can go smart farming, not every woman in the rural area can, people are thinking about the next meal to have, and if I'm going to have to get, wooden crates and all of that, that's finance. I need to be able to buy it or find it somehow, right?
Not necessarily wooden crates.
I mean, whatever it is. But I think for me, it's just maybe taking it a step further to say, can we do this? Can we turn this into a communal thing to actually feed a community, feed a local government, and just bring, because like you said, women will come out to do these things. We enjoy it. I mean, you really took me down memory lane just thinking of my childhood and how we'll go to the back and plug things up. So we will come out and do this, but can we create more opportunities for women to be more involved in initiatives? I think for me that's yes. Okay. Please.
Let me also add to this. We are just starting, and we need to start from somewhere. And that is why we have adopted this strategy. In the past, there are some initiatives, things like Operation Feed the Nation and things like that. What we are doing is to, first of all, target the family and see how we can encourage them in subsistence farming. Operation Feed Your Neighborhood, Operation Feed Your Family. That is its target for now. So it's a step forward. We will do more. Let us see how this one goes, and at the end of the day, we see how we analyze. We see, we process, and see how we can improve on.
But she's also thinking of inclusion, so that even the women at the lowest realm, would also have opportunity to participate in the competition. Is on already.
It's on. That's what I'm saying. We cannot change the rule in the middle of the game, so we have to continue to do
good.
this.
But let's look at how you determine the winner, because for me, I am thinking, is it easy to determine a winner considering the differences in maybe the geographical regions, considering the differences in the soil texture, considering the differences in the germination period of some of the plants and crops that these women may want to. So how easy is it to come out with a clear winner?
Okay, that is why we have provided that long time for them to do the planting and harvest. About
till December.
Till December. That's why we have decided that's number one. Number two, you have to do it within the state. send it through how many
You send it through a short video
Video
of
to your
about
state.
5 minutes to the office of the
First lady.
lady of your state, who will now send people to assess
Yes.
your garden,
At that level.
the authenticity. Is it true that the garden is in your home, or you just went to take a picture of part of your farm, or somebody else's farm? So the office of the first lady in the state, your state first lady, beg your pardon, will go there, assess your farmland, then collate it, sift it at the state level before it gets to the federal level, where all the states will be brought together, and then all the entries from the states will be brought, and then the winner will be determined by a panel
of
of
experts.
judges. A panel of judges made up of agricultural experts, and being a first-time farmer, we don't expect you to know the fine details of farming.
So what are you looking out for? What will you be looking out for?
I want to see what you have planted now, how you have planted it, where you have planted it, and the harvest.
And the harvest?
Yes. That means you have to be able to tend to that garden, pay attention to that garden.
Yes.
Of course it's raining now. So is your garden going to be washed away so you have to put up things to ensure that this farm, this garden,
It's being guided jealously.
I must get the 20 million.
25.
25 million.
Yes, now.
For one person?
For the winner, for the
For
grand,
the winner,
grand prize.
grand prize. Because that grand prize will encourage you to have a bigger farm.
Is it too late to start?
It's not too late.
You can join now.
It's not,
Okay, but
it's not
just
too late.
women.
It's for women.
Encourage your wife.
I think
and
I'm
your
a
daughter.
woman.
Encourage your wife.
Encourage your wife
But
and
in
your
all of
daughter.
these, in all of these, what's the role of the NALDA, the National Agricultural Land Development Authority?
I think Honorable Alawi
Well, NALDA is a federal government agency that is saddled with some working on agricultural land and all that. They approach us and they say they want to work with us. And we collaborated, particularly in the southeast, to ensure that they supported us in training, providing input, agricultural input, and some other, important things to support us. Along the line, issue of budgeting and all that, didn't allow them to forge ahead. No. So we are stepping it down until they finish their, budget process, But we have been able to successfully, achieve that in the southeast. The next place they are going to go to is the southwest, the south, and other places.
But you need to also explain what that, is in terms of content and activity.
Yes,
What is NALDA?
The NALDA was able to train those women farmers. They were local farmers, though. They were not like Wayne said, the grassroots people.
Not Wayne kind of farmers.
They trained them. Now, some of the trainings they gave those women in the southeast was how to ensure that there are no wastages from their harvests.
Okay,
and how to maximize their harvest. Then they are training them on how to come together as community farmers to have off-takers for their harvest to minimize losses at the end of the day. Preservation of their products as well was also part of what NALDA trained them in, and I think they also trained them in best agricultural practices to be able to maximize their harvest. So some of those things were the things NALDA did, and they gave them birds, seedlings, improved seedling variety, because it's not just giving me seedlings, but the improved variety that would ensure better harvest. So that's what they did. Fishlings and all of that, the fingerlings, and the improved varieties. They were some of the things that NALDA did. But for me, the most important part of that intervention was the training. It's not much of being a farmer. I can just get a hoe. I've seen people on television cultivate land. It's not much of me just digging and planting. How
knowing-
should I do
yes.
it and do it
Knowing the
well?
processes and
Yes.
understanding the
So I think
processes.
that was one of the
Yes.
things Nalda did in the southeast, and it was quite
Just
commendable.
before we, I don't know if Victor has another question, but just before we move on to other areas, I'm just wondering again on the Every Home a Garden, because everybody's talking about it. At the state level, will the shortlisted, contestants, how would you ensure that the shortlisted contestants are not at the mercy of those who go to, monitor what they see? Do you have also those that will conduct M&E from the office of the president to ensure transparency and accountability?
Well, I think the first ladies are responsible, and we don't want to micromanage what is happening in their state. You understand? They are in charge of their state. They are the Harisha coordinator in that state, and they are expected to handle the situation in a professional way. So we will leave it at that.
But how are you able to get first ladies across party lines who most of the time, first ladies have their own pet
Exactly.
projects. All of
All
them
of them.
do have their pet projects. How do you get them to get, is it just by giving them control?
Let me use this opportunity to, on behalf of the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, commend and appreciate all our First Ladies for their support, for this program. As a matter of fact, we don't see party. What we see are people. I don't even know, I've been the one going about all the states. When I get to a state, I don't see a party. What I see is just the people in that state. So I've forgotten I'm a member of a particular party when I get to it. And that is the way they are also responding to us. You understand? We've been to places where, PDP and other political parties are in charge. But we don't see that. They have been so cooperative and supportive in terms of this program.
Let me
I wish
add that.
Yes.
I think we were in Akwa Ibom sometime last year.
Yes.
And that was where the First Lady made a statement. Politics and politicking is over. It's time for governance. And she has gone in the strength of that statement. It is no longer politicking. When it's time for politics, we'll come back there. But now, it is time for governance. Nigerians have to feel the impact of this administration, and I'm talking about the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Simple.
And we saw the First Lady also in Osun State.
So
Yes, yes, we saw her, and we saw her free. But so far, what's the entry like?
we don't, on our own part, we don't know what, like Honorable has said, the states are having the time now because it's at the state level. So if you want to know what the entries are like, you have to get in touch with the various states, to know, okay, from this state, how many people have indicated. But don't forget that it's going to be a little bit early to talk about the entries now, because it's at the point of harvesting and all of that. Of course, the videos have started, the compilation for the videos should have started.
Yes.
You know.
That's my thinking.
But
Yes.
You must take the video from even when the
When there was
virgin
flowers.
virgin land, and when you started cultivation and the different stages, of growth. Yes,
And
that was
also-
my thinking. So you upload those pictures, and anyway, please, what's your take? The last take on this? Any more?
I think I'll just piggyback on what he said about, using this. I mean, for every program, that you have to start with a pilot. And from that pilot, you do your M&E and see how effective it has been, what you can improve, what you need to stop, what you need to continue. So I think we'll leave it at this and just see how this goes.
But your chamber isn't keen in, you don't have your
So
women.
so now that I have listened in on this and I know that it is what it is, we will make sure that we work with the office. We'll work with the initiative to ensure that our members take advantage of this as well. I think for me, that's one of the reasons why this morning was very interesting, because I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity to actually hear from the horse's mouth in a sense, to actually understand fully the opportunities that come with this program and the initiative in general. And so going back, of course, we'll find ways in which our members, and the good thing is the Women Chamber of Commerce is across every state. So every state that this program will, or the initiative will extend into, we have, women in the chambers there. So we'll ensure that, we encourage them to take advantage of the program as well.
Then you'll have the opportunity of also assisting them with the land issue.
Definitely.
So that's,
definitely.
yes. Okay.
Definitely.
But let me ask on behalf of your chamber, beyond agriculture, what other areas is the initiative also, delving into?
Well, we're delving into so many other things. Yes. Education, for instance. The initiative, since inception, has been able to, under its National Scholarship Program, NASP, Tertiary Education, that's the name of the program, which is under the scope of education of the Renewed Hope Initiative. In the initial, just like Honorable said, it's the starting point. All of these that we're talking about is the starting point. Don't forget where this administration is under a year old. 47 first year university or tertiary institution students were given a scholarship, a 4-year scholarship. That means every year they will receive 1 million naira each. And at the initial stage, they received a brand new laptop to go with it. Now, the idea is you are in school. With 1 million naira, at least you're sure since it's a federal or institution, of course, your tuition is taken care of. Some of your upkeep is taken care of. Some of your academic materials are also taken care of with that money, at least for the year. Come next year, the next
But
thing.
if you do this for 4 years, let's say for someone who you helped to start, you do it for 4 years and the person has a studying engineering or studying law, and then you stop after 4 years, who will renew the hope? Who will renew the hope of that individual?
It depends on the peculiarity of the student.
Yes.
As we dole out the scholarship, we also monitor what they do.
Yes.
You understand? That is the essence of him and he, to ensure that they are doing good. As a student, you must be in good standing. That means your academic record must be good. So we monitor your CGPA, from term to term, from year to year. That's what we want to do. So you are expected to maintain a certain GPA.
Yeah.
To be in that.
To continue to enjoy
that.
Okay.
So that's what we want to do.
And then at the end of 4 years, if my CGPA everything checks. If everything checks and it's a 7-year course, what happens after 4 years? Because
that is why we
have pegged it at 4.
That is why we are there to monitor and write recommendation to the first lady.
Yes, okay, let me again.
What after 4 years?
What you didn't mention is that the Harisha has a structure that is also has a governing board
of trustees,
made up of some important, relevant people in the society. To also.
So even
in other words, this could transcend, it could go beyond the lifespan of this organization.
That's what we are saying.
Okay, just again, on that whole every home a garden.
Clear.
After 25 million, it's not a small money. So after the winner, has been declared, what happens to the other contestants? Do you just abandon them, or what do you do?
Let me answer that. The first lady is very particular about the first. You understand? There's no second best for her. That is why we don't want to encourage any form of consolation prizes and that. Go for the best. Go for the bull high.
Yes, but there's a broader goal, which is food security. So those other people, we are not saying give them money. What do you do? Do you follow them up? Do you
consolation prize for
no,
like I've said, we don't know consolation prize.
There's
nothing like that. We want to go for the.
There's Chamber of Commerce. Do you give them some sort of startups, some sort of formal training?
That's why, like he said, we have a board of trustees, and we have good Nigerians like and good organizations like the Chamber, for instance. So if you see someone, I come second best, and you see potentials in me, Honorable can take my case up. That okay, you didn't win that star prize, but I also see potentials in you. That's why we're making it public, so everybody can see. Even the ministry can decide, the Ministry of Agriculture can decide to do something for them. But for us at RHI, the best is what we're gunning for. You must strive for the best.
Also,
hit the bullseye.
Just to buttress your point,
Yes.
the Ministry of Agriculture is collaborating with us.
Yes.
You understand? We are in, we are collaborating to ensure that things like this are properly done. You understand? We have started the talk, and part of what we are going to recommend is what you just mentioned now. You understand? They, as a well-meaning Nigerians, as Nigerians that are occupying a very, strategic position in the society, can also, recommend things like this for the First Lady. So it is good, like this one is coming up, and like we have said, this is just the beginning.
The beginning must be good. It must be the best.
It must be the best. After that, then we look for.
Yes, the beginning must be the best.
Yes,
but there's a name like Igbenyadu.
Translate.
And so Igbenyadu would mean that the end has to be good.
Yes.
So it's not just the beginning.
All right, let's also talk about another competition.
Okay.
Of course, the advert has been on the NTA, and I see it also. That's the One Nigeria Unity Fabric competition. What's it all about again?
Okay. Okay, you're looking towards me this time. Okay, the One Nigeria Unity Fabric is one that when the First Lady, she actually got the idea from another country because she saw it happen somewhere else. She said, this can happen in my country. Now, what's the logic behind this? If you see Honorable Alaoye, for instance, when he dresses up, you can say, okay, he's from Yoruba land. When if she comes in some attire, say, she's Shakiri. And I look at you and say, this is my South brother. But let us look at, that's still talking about our diversity, which really
we don't want to
emphasize diversity. We want to emphasize unity, oneness. What defines us as a nation? When anybody sees me on the streets of New York, for instance, this person is Nigerian. Not, this person is Yoruba. This person is Hausa. This person is Igbo. So she's thinking of the united Nigeria, or one Nigeria, a Nigeria where we speak with one voice, we see with one eye, we hear with one ear. So how can we conceptualize it in what we wear? Because in any case, what I see, there are how many gates to the human mind? The eye gate and the ear gate. The mouth gate, just a little bit.
The nose?
Not really as strong as the eye and ear. You understand? You understand? And don't forget, it's contestable, but don't forget that some of us don't have good sense of smell. You get here, and there's something smelling here. I can't smell anything now. That's what she's trying to achieve. Now, we had somebody create the Nigerian flag, and that became our symbol. So we're looking at somebody come up with a fabric pattern that will be our symbol, not as Yoruba, not as Igbo, not as Hausa, but as Nigeria. And that's what that competition is all about. Now she's saying that the young minds, they're very creative. And I agree with her. because the best minds are the young minds, highly creative. So they should come up with something that defines us as a people, as Nigeria, not as one ethnic group, one tongue, one tribe, but as a nation. And that's the idea behind it.
In addition, we have something green
Yes.
about
Yes,
it.
in addition, it has to do with the sense of originality, creativity, and ingenuity in our young individuals. That is exactly what she's trying to promote. You know, how creative are you using your hand, you know, your mind and your head? That's the essence of the competition in promoting unity.
Yes, wait a minute. Someone will say we already have a national symbols, you know, which, of course, anytime you see me outside this country, I'm always in a, you know, long gown or skirt and blouse and my gilly. So everybody knows. In fact, when they see me, they say, "Ah, you're from Nigeria." They already know. And we have our green, white, green. We have our national colors. So this one Nigeria fabric. Do you understand the logic? Do you get the logic? And do you think it's realistic?
I think just hearing her speak, the first thing that came to my mind was the Nigerian jerseys. You know, so for like football, every year it changes, but there's still the essence of the green. So we all know that this is Nigerian, you know, jersey, this is a Nigerian team. I think for me, what I find interesting about it is the exposure that it will bring to the textile industry in a sense, right? And I feel like if done correctly, it can bring a new dimension to the Nigerian textile industry and really just expose us more.
Patriotism,
exactly, it exposes us more. What I'm still trying to balance out is how that fabric will be selected, right? What is going to make it Nigerian? How are we, you know, what's the criteria?
In the midst of the more than 250 cultural, you know.
Exactly. How are we in, I mean, while diversity.
That's why it's a competition.
Exactly. So while unity is great, diversity is also great. How do we infuse all of that into one fabric that actually then speaks to a Nigeria?
And at what event? Is it a daily wear? Would it be a daily wear or an occasional wear? Or?
Well, it will be an occasional wear to talk about nationality, to portray us to the outside world. Of course, going out of the country, you could also don it, and of course, people will immediately know that, okay, this person is from Nigeria. Now, when you're talking about how is it going to be, is it texture? Is it not really of a texture? Don't forget that. Okay, we have Adire, we have Ashoki, we have. Thank you, from Benue. You understand? We have all of those. Now, those are the textures. However, the pattern, the design, is what we're trying to see.
Okay.
Now,
Color
is also going to be there. Because green, white, green are our national colors. Okay, for instance, see the RHI. So we have a green. The white is also there. So something to show our person that we are. Now, the pattern. What appeals to the Hausa clan? What appeals to Yoruba? What appeals to Igbo? Now, the Igbo, the red cap.
Ishago.
You understand? So, you know, we infuse all of this and come up with a pattern that speaks to. Am I giving them expo already?
I'm getting on that confused because if you say you are looking for,
but
you are going to infuse, you are going to infuse the Igbo, infuse your.
No. It's not an expo. It's not an expo because it will still be subjected by
Yes, that's the most important aspect of it. And you also mentioned that it's going to be an occasion. It is going to unveil on October 1st.
On the 1st of October.
And that symbolizes something for us as Nigerians.
Oh, you're already taking entries then?
Yes. Entries are already trickling in.
Yeah, but again, you know, some time ago, an executive, governor in this country, you know, issued a statement, warning the wearing of babariga to officers. So I'm just wondering, in a place where even our official, appointees do not wear our national, dresses outside this country, you see most of them sporting, suits and all that. I mean, I'm just imagining the accent. Yes,
because there's cold.
No, but
There's code to do what?
No,
Exactly.
cold.
There's
The weather
cold.
is
So that's why they call this a national dress. Your national dress can be your agbada or your.
So I'm just wondering acceptability when it does come out. I don't know.
Yeah, people will embrace it. I believe so. People will embrace it. That's why we are invited.
One of the things that if you want to drive anything, drive it through the youth. By the time you see the young ones start donning it, you see, a 60-year-old will not want to be old now. So that's why you still, someone will say something like, Kosaru Bongana.
Ben, I'm happy you are now coming around. You are not talking women now. You are not saying we are driving through women. Now, if you want to drive, you drive through youth.
Yeah.
And that's
No,
why,
no.
and that's why I'm going to ask. Are there particular programs for the men and the youth? Because you said at the beginning of this conversation that you are covering all.
Victor,
Men, women, youth, children.
let me help you. Victor,
You want to help her?
we did say that this was renewed hope initiatives from the office of the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, targeting mostly women and the youths. And Mr.
she added men to it,
Mr.
don't
Lawuye
you?
here is a he for she.
Yes, sir.
Is a he for she. So be careful what questions you ask. And,
Are there particular programs
Please,
for
answer.
men and the youth?
Yes,
Well, there
so
are
many.
some that are direct beneficiaries. For instance, the National Scholarship Program. It's not gender bias. So we had boys, young men as beneficiaries of that program. Now, our Greek program, one aspect of our Greek program is Women Agric Support Program. That's not the only thing we're doing in our Greek. Do you understand? Health, for instance.
Yes,
we're doing, very shortly, Her Excellency will be unveiling the birth registration program. Now that birth registration, baby boys will be born now. It's not for baby girls alone. So it's all of this. The social investment. One of the social investment programs that we had was in Jos, Plateau State, after the communal clash that left so many people homeless. And that time, the First Lady went and asked that, this is bad. We need to intervene. What do you want? Let us give you this. No. We want to go back to our communities. Bring us planks, wood. We want to build our homes. I said, okay. I can't be bringing all of that from Abuja. And I think she came and gave 500
To 500.
500 families. They got
1 million.
1 million naira each to be able to rebuild their homes. Now, the women were not the owners of those homes. The victors and the likes were the men. So she's not gender bias or anything like that, but she's First Lady for men, for women, for children.
Because there are a lot of women that are breadwinners. They're all over the place.
So we have that, and even in economic empowerment as well. Our elderly support scheme. We have elders, the people that are older than 60, not just the women. I can remember that, yes, the one we did for the armed forces.
Yes.
We had
Widows and orphans.
widows and orphans. We had men, retired military personnel. They were beneficiaries. So it's not just about women. She's also looking out for the men. But let me tell you something, Victor. Rest easy. If we take care of the women, we have taken care of the men.
Okay. I give up.
I during the the time of the First Lady in the Senate, um, I, I, I don't know, but I'm sure that she was there when the gender bill was raised and was quashed. Now, is there any hope renewed for, violence against gender in this area?
Yes, that is
Initiative.
under our social
Social
investment
investment.
program.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we are considering, building, halfway
Shelter.
houses,
Okay.
A shelter.
for women who are victims of violence and, abusive relationship, just to take care of those category of women. Like you have rightly mentioned, she's so much concerned about the plight of women, particularly those in those categories. She has a house in Lagos, a kind of a home
Yes.
in Lagos called Patience
Patience
Home,
Home.
named after her mother. She has volunteered to give that to
The Lagos State
to
government.
Lagos State government to serve as a halfway, home for those who are, victim of,
Yes,
domestic violence and
abuse.
all that. And she also, advised other states to also adopt its system.
Well, you forgot to add the issue of the alternative high school
Alternative
for
high
girls.
school, yes.
Now, we have this prevalence of out of school females as a result of unwanted pregnancies, domestic violence. They drop out of school. Now, she's a teacher. She's a lifelong teacher. And I can tell you that teaching, I think she came with it from heaven, because everything she
Yes.
does is she wants you to get things right. She teaches you in that direction. So she's very passionate about that. Okay, because you have made one mistake in life does not mean your life should end. Your dreams should end, and you can't go further with your aspirations. So she conceptualized and envisioned the alternative high school for girls while she was First Lady in Lagos State. And by the end of her husband's tenure, and that was in 2007, the first alternative high school for girls was established and commissioned.
I like the sound of that, but I'll put you on hold because we need to get
Pay some
going on
bills.
break now. Pay some bills. When we return, then so that we can listen to you and ask the questions.
Thank you.
Please don't go away. Thank you very much for rejoining us. This is Good Morning Nigeria, where we have been discussing the Renewed Hope initiative. And we have a gentleman that says he for she. So we would be right to say, well, gentle women. Thank you. But let's get back to this conversation. You were telling us a story which caught my attention.
High school.
Yes.
Okay, so I said that school was established just at the twilight of her, the administration of then Governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. She envisioned it, and what's that school about? The school still subsists today. Is at Abuja in Lagos. So the idea of the school is to get girls who dropped out of school, well, some as no fault of theirs, others as a result of their, inexperience and all of that. The school has the capacity to reintegrate them into the formal education setting so that they can move on from high school to higher education, either go to the university or polytechnic or achieve what they want to achieve in life. It also has facilities for vocational and skills training, just in case they need to make ends meet after school. How can they, maybe somebody has a child, and had to drop out of school and now comes back to school. Okay, while I'm doing physics, chemistry, biology, I'm also learning catering. I'm also doing hairdressing, makeup, and all of that to be able to tend for that baby that I had as a result of whatever, you understand. Now, the school takes into cognizance the fact that the family setting might not want to help you out because, madam, who asked you to go and do it? So you bring your baby to school There's a creche there for the child to stay while you're in school. So she has now given it a broader outlook, a national outlook, and with the collaboration of the Ministry of Education, particularly UBEC, that has also established one or two of those schools in some other states. They're now taking it all over. I think it was last week we were in Osun State with Her Excellency for the turning of the sod and groundbreaking for another alternative high school for girls in Osun State. You know, she commissioned one in Bauchi a few weeks back, about 6 or 7 weeks ago. And, you know, so those are some of the things that the Renewed Hope Initiative is driving at, is all inclusive.
I actually remember, I think I remember now that you are saying it, I remember because all through that period I was in Lagos, and I think I remember that school, but well, it's the beginning.
Just on the new
these
era.
These days it's not going
era.
to be.
Yes, it was a new era that built it, because it was at the school, the initiative was adopted by the State Ministry of Education. They bought into that vision, and okay, if this is it, we'll go with this vision. It's a good one.
But
so the school is being run by the Lagos State Ministry of Education
at the moment.
At the moment,
But
yes.
now that you are making it national in outlook, it's a start, but one per state won't even cut it, because you have a lot of
No, it's not going
in
to
that
one
basket.
state.
You have a lot.
That's why UBEC is joining in on this
Precisely, I was going to
vision.
ask for about funding and, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that is why we are
Even UBEC
collaborating
won't be able to carry it
with UBEC to do that for us. You know, Federal Ministry of Education and UBEC, you know, be the one, you know, constructing. You know, they also have that as part of their own agenda. So it tallies with what we want to do in Harishai. So we are working together to ensure that we have such schools
all
in every
over,
part of Nigeria.
not just one school per state, as many as will be required by that state, for instance.
We didn't talk about the Harishai Food Outreach Program.
Okay.
We have
Claire was
we have
going-
collaborated with a public spirited company here in Nigeria that has
a wholly Nigerian
decided
company
to give us a trailer load, a truckload of food at the end of every month to take care of IDPs, you know,
orphanages,
what is called this colony, what do you
the
call
lepers
it?
colony.
Lepers colony and things like that. We have taken it to FCT. We've done Kano. Nasarawa is the next state to be to benefit from that, and we intend to go to all over Nigeria. If trailer load.
It's a comprehensive initiative. Like you said earlier on, these are initiatives to also help us to accelerate progress on the SDGs.
Yes.
Yes.
And basically, the items you have raised, you know, add up to the different goals, you
Of
know,
the
and,
SDGs.
of the SDGs.
Yes.
That's fine. But again, I want to look at the initiatives that, you know, target food security, because at the moment we all know what the cost of food items, you know, are in the market and all that. Are there plans to carry on with these initiatives after this first initial stage, you know, and I'm asking in terms of sustaining, you know, the initiative?
Well, if we have to look at the history, the historical perspective of the Office of the First Lady, many of the programs, you know, dies with the administration. But what we are intending to do is to ensure that, you know, whoever comes after the 8 years of this administration will also adopt, you know, what we are doing. You know, as long as it is beneficial to Nigerians, like you have mentioned.
So how are you doing that?
Going to ensure
exactly. How are you
it's
doing
not going
that?
to become a matter of legality or constitution.
That is why we are making it open. That is why we have a board of trustees to assist us in what we are doing. You understand? It now behoves on the person that is coming as the next First Lady to see the good in what we are doing and adopt it.
It's good. It's good, really. But in practical terms, you know, you find yourself in this situation where everybody comes and will say, that one is for Oluremi Tinubu.
Policy somersault.
You know, you want to come. This is just natural. I'm not
Yes.
talking, no matter how good
Except
the
you have
initiative is
a
wants to come
legal
with
framework
my own
backing it up.
and not their own or her own. You know, so it becomes a bit of a problem. And I'm even more worried because it's a lot you are trying to do. It's a lot you are doing. And I'm wondering, will this not become overwhelming at some point, given the amount of outlay, the outlay of finance that you'll be requiring to push all of this through, let alone talk about sustainability?
As we all know, there is no
love-
budget for the office of the First Lady.
Yeah, exactly.
It is just a complementary and supportive office. We rely solely on, Nigerians who are, public spirited in terms of supporting us, and that is how we have been running the initiative.
And you know, another thing that you must, the goodwill that the First Lady enjoys has also been a driving factor for this initiative. Nobody wants to identify with failure. Everybody wants to identify with something good.
True.
So you see all these people coming up and say, I saw you in Bochi. I saw what you did in Bochi. I want to be part of it. What can I do to join you and partner in this? Oh, I saw you in Oshu. I saw what you did in Ogun. That was awesome. Now, Waimi is saying, for instance, that when she gets back, she's going to tell the women at the chamber, let's join and see what we can do. So those are the things. The truth be told, this woman works 7 days a week and round the clock. What is she working to do? To see a better Nigeria. It is on her mind. She sleeps it, she wakes it, she thinks it, she walks it, she talks it. So when she drives it, everyone sees that, okay, this is good, this is what this person is doing. So they all rise to the occasion. How can we help you? How can we join you? And that's why the Board of Trustees are there.
You know why I asked this question?
Yes.
Because Her Excellency, has been, is a legislator.
Yeah.
So she knows the processes. She was there and she, understood and felt the needs of Nigerians, the cries of Nigerians. So she understands that if Nigerians are saying these initiatives are laudable, then steps, ought to be taken to put it. What do you think?
I mean, I think if there's a way that it could be turned into a policy, a law, something that says, because of the the effectiveness of what we've seen from this initiative going forward, this is something that should be a part of the office of the First Lady. Because what we do know, just like he said, there's a lot of discontinuity when everybody comes in. Everybody comes with their own fresh ideas. Comes in with their own ideologies on how things should run, what their own understanding of empowerment is. So there might be a chance that after the tenure this actually ends. But one thing that I see that is good is the board of advisors that you have. Yeah. There's a governing board.
That's a first.
That's a first. There's a governing board, which means that even if it doesn't pass into law in a sense, it's something that can become a personal initiative going forward that becomes her own legacy, in a sense. But in terms of continuity with the next government, it's a couple of years. We don't know who's going to come in. We don't know the ideology, the mindset, if the person is going to be willing to take it over.
That's difficult.
But yeah.
She has rightly mentioned that it is registered under the CAC, and like I mentioned, the office of the First Lady is just a supportive and complementary office, but it depends on the occupier of that position. Your exposure, your educational background, your connections and things like that will make people respect that office. The way you handle issues, the way you relate with people, allows you to run the office effectively. Like he has mentioned, people, volunteer to come to us, you understand, to support us based on what we have done. The records are there. It is glaring for people to see. And that is why we are receiving support from right, left, and center.
Even outside of Nigeria, we had someone come in and say, this initiative, that was after the national scholarship program, and they came up that Okay, the government of Belarus, through a Belarusian, says, we want to give Nigerians 20 scholarships, fully paid, accommodation, tuition, upkeep. And I think 19 of them have commenced the language study already. That's, you know, they've seen what she can do. They've seen what she's doing. I don't know. Let me translate. Let me use Yoruba and translate it to English straight. That because she has carried it, they are now helping her to carry it.
In addition, the African School of Economics, in partnership with NEPAD and our office, also, you know, is doing some form of collaboration in terms of scholarship. They are giving 200 scholarship.
Yes.
You know, to students across Nigeria. So these are some
and the
of
beauty
the
of it is that she's not the one nominating the beneficiaries.
An interesting thing to see would, if for continuity's sake, would be to have a very clear roadmap on what this program, so long-term, mid-term, medium-term, that somebody who is, you know, who has not been a part of it from the beginning can see the roadmap and is, you know, willing to, you know, get in. So maybe that's something that's
why we're keeping all the records.
Exactly. So that roadmap will be clear. In 5 years, this is what we want to achieve. In 10 years, this is what this project will achieve, you know, for all of the different aspects of the program. And I think in that way, it's easier for someone to come in and, you know, buy in and just continue with it, you know. Yeah.
Well, I'm also imagining within this RHI, women who do not have any form of, you know, I mean, any form of support, you know, who are out there. There are a lot of them there who depend on other people, who do not have any form of livelihood and all that, who require skill, some form of skill. And I'm actually looking at indigent women, you know, women from poor homes, not necessarily, you know, the semi-skilled, those who do not have skill at all. And they form part of the burden of this country. Is there any hope for them within this RHI?
There's always hope within the Renewed Hope initiative, and that's why it's called Renewed Hope. Now we have the economic empowerment scope of the initiative, and like I told you, is a multi-layered approach. We go through the grassroots, we go from local government to states, and you know, we build up. So the states also are helping us in identifying some of these groups that you have talked about. For instance, whenever we have a women Greek support program, we also have, as an aside, a program for people with disabilities. It's called Business Revitalization Grant.
Okay.
So even if you are
a grant,
it's a grant. It is not a loan. We give it to you. You are selling pepper. Add this to your capital to boost your trade. You understand? So those are some of the things that we're looking at.
Not now, a kind of trader.
What's the range of what you give to boost? Because it's a booster now.
That's what I was It's a booster. Each person gets 100,000 naira.
Okay. Oh yeah.
That's huge.
That's
and
huge.
For each state, we do 100.
So far, how many? I don't know if you have the data.
So far, we have done. I think we've done five. The sixth one will be done next week in Akwa Ibom. Yes, the sixth one will be done next week in Akwa Ibom. So we're doing it. You know, it's gradual. Don't forget that there's no budgetary allocation for this office, so we can't go the whole hog at the same time. It would have been lovely to do 36 states at a go.
Yes, because we're trying to lift women from poverty.
And we also have,
let me also say this.
NTA,
not only who are way in addition with our office, we also training women in technology.
Yes.
You understand? We are going from geopolitical zone to another geopolitical zone to train women. 40 per geopolitical zone. NIDA is also training our women in technology. So we are, it's a multifaceted and multidimensional approach in trying to achieve
that training. They even train you how to design your business card.
To put
your business on social media.
Because
You know, how to put your, you know, the first one we did where we had the graduation, one girl came up and was like, my business is now on social media within this last 5 days. And, you know, she was so happy about it. Please, what's the business this person does? Makeup.
You know, when I asked the question, I also had at the back of my mind the one of the initiatives of the last administration, Trader Money, meant to, you know, support, you know, market women and all of that. And I've also heard the First Lady, you know, talk about palliatives, and you know that no, we can't always rely on palliatives.
Yes.
There's need to empower women with skills to enable them.
Yes.
And that's her sentiment, exactly that. See, I'm not going to keep giving you fish. I'm going to give you the net, the hook. I'm going to train you how to fish yourself. So that's one of, she's very, very passionate about that one way. Everyone says, how far we need that? How far with our. So let's keep training and keep training them. And once you train them, she gives you stipends to start off something. And if you have already started, you add it to what you have started. So she's not just leaving you in the lurch. She's training you, and she's ensuring that what you have gained from that training, you're going to put it into use immediately. So she's empowering.
That's capacity building.
Yes.
Right. You can't expect. One of the things that I've also seen is, I mean, a lot of women who also, just like this lady you've spoken about, probably started her business out of passion, right? Which is where a lot of female entrepreneurs are. You start a business from something that you do at home, from a skill that you've picked up, not necessarily that you understand the business side of things. So where capacity building comes in is where, you know, that's the intersection with economic empowerment. How do you teach these women to use the skills that they have to actually become economically empowered, to begin to make money for not just themselves, but for their communities, for themselves, for their families. So I think for me, you know, just hearing that there's a capacity building part of it, and we do know that there's a huge digital divide for women, especially in Nigeria. Not a lot of women are online. There were a lot of reports from the COVID-19 that affected women. So women entrepreneurs were the ones that were adversely affected the most, because not a lot of them had their businesses online. So when everything is shut down, you can't go to your store, there's nowhere for you to sell. Right, so just hearing that there's that part of this, and I hope that it's something that, you know, we'll actually be able to do more. And I mean, at this point, I think the Women Chamber of Commerce will come into work, to come into work with and pull our partners as well to be able to, you know, scale up, because these are programs that are already existing, and we can scale them up, you know, with the reach that we have and with the partners that we have, to ensure that, you know, more women are able to get, you know, some of this training. So
the same way I want to adopt Victoria as my name, just so that I can be part of the beneficiaries.
I was hoping you also let us into, you know, some of the issues that, you know, your members, who are mostly women, you know, share with you, and the issues that confront them, and see if, you know, there is hope. I think, okay, I'm told we have just, you know, less than 60 seconds or so. You know, if they can find hope, you know, within the initiatives.
I mean, yes, they can find hope within the initiatives, and we'll make sure that the hope is connected. But yes, a lot of women in the chamber work within the agri space, within the agribusiness space. I think one of the things that I'm going to bring in will be the aspect of market access and, you know, processing. So adding value. So there's one thing to farm, but then just, you know, you spoke about post-harvest losses, which is where we see a lot of the issues. So which is where you also find that women farmers are not getting as much money for their produce, because they have no access to market, and they have no way to actually improve the value of the, you know, farm produce that they're producing. So how do we want to incorporate all of this into, you know, some of the initiatives that, you know, the Office of
RHI.
RHI is already doing? I think, of course, there's access to funding is always a problem for women. Can we sit down and structure something within RHI that actually speaks to these needs of women? I mean, I love the fact that there are a lot of grants that are coming out of this, because, I mean, even given the current economic climate, it's hard for women to be able to pay back these loans, because just like he said, a lot of them are female breadwinners. You have to pay rent, you have to pay school fees, health, everything. So how are we able to just, you know, sit down and fine-tune some of these things to ensure that we're able to speak to some of the other areas of issues that
I hope that sitting can happen immediately. You know, we wrap this up about now. So we would like to thank you very much, Waimi Eribo, Director General, Women Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. Thank you for coming on Good Morning
Thank
Nigeria.
you. It's been beautiful being here.
Let's also thank Wahab Alawiye King, Senior Special Assistant to the President Office of the First Lady, Policy, Public Affairs and Strategy. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And finally, and by no means the least, Busola Kukoyi, SSA Media, to the First Lady. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for
for having
Good
me.
Morning, Nigeria.
Thank you.
And that's the program. We thank you very much for watching. Well, tomorrow is another day. I'll be here. I don't know about Claire. We'll see you then.
I'll see you tomorrow. I'm Claire Adilabu Abdulrazak.
And I'm Victor as well. Take care.